Deuteronomy 6:5. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind.
And now the least of them ridicule me. Now they admonish me in turn, whom I treated their fathers with contempt, whom I did not esteem to be worthy of dogs of my grazing flock. And indeed, what strength is of their hands to me? It was destroyed of them to completion. In lack and hunger one is barren, as the ones fleeing waterless yesterday in conflict and misery, the one breaking off the marine plant upon the sounding shore, whose marine plants were for their grain, and were without honor, being treated as worthless, lacking of every good thing, and the roots of trees gnawed because of great hunger. Thieves rose up against me, whom their houses were burrows of rocks. The ones who pass life under wild stick dwellings shall yell in the midst of distinct places. They are sons of fools, and have a name without honor, and fame extinguished from the earth. Now I am their harp, and they have me for a common topic. They abhorred me, separating far from me, and from my face they spared not spittle. For having opened his quiver he afflicted me, and sent away the bridle of my presence. They rose up against me on the right hand of their offspring. He stretched out his feet, and opened against me with paths of their destructions. They obliterated my paths, for he took off my apparel, and with a spear he ran me through. He has judged me as he wills, in griefs I am befouled. My grief returned, my hope was set out as if the wind, and my deliverance as if a cloud. Now my soul shall be poured out upon me, and days of griefs suffice me. At night my bones burn, and my nerves are parted. With great strength it took hold of my robe, as the cleft of my garment it compassed me. And you have esteemed me equal to clay, and earth and ashes is my portion. I have cried out to you, and you hear me not. They stood and contemplated me. You mounted against me mercilessly. You whipped me with a strong hand, and you arranged me against with griefs. You threw me away from deliverance, for I know that death would obliterate me, for the house of my mortal is ground. For aught that I should be able to lay hands upon myself, or indeed beseech another, and he should do this to me, I wept over every disabled man, and I moaned, beholding man in necessities. I waited for good things, and behold, bad days met with me instead. My belly erupted, it would not keep silent. Days of poorness anticipated me. I went moaning without a rein, and I have stood in the assembly crying out. I have become a brother of sirens, and companion of ostriches. My skin is darkened greatly, and my bones from sweltering heat. My harp turned into mourning, and my psalm into weeping for me. I made a covenant with my eyes, and I will not take notice upon a virgin. What portion is from God above, and what fit inheritance is from the highest? Woe, destruction to the unjust, and alienation to the one committing lawlessness. Will he not see my way and count out all my footsteps? But if I was going with jokesters, or even hurrying my foot for treachery, for I stand in a just yoke balance scale, and the Lord knew my innocence, if my foot turned aside from out of the way, or if even my heart followed after my eye, and if even my hands touched bribes, then may I sow and others eat, and may I become rootless upon the earth. If my heart followed after the wife of another man, and if I had laid in wait at her doors, then may my wife even please another, and may my infants be humbled. For the rage of anger is unrestrained, and the defiling of a man's wife. For it is a fire burning upon all the parts, and whomever it may come upon it destroyed from the roots. If even I treated as worthless the equity due to my male attendant or female attendant in their pleading with me, what then shall I do if the Lord shall appoint chastisement for me? And if also he should visit, what answer shall I make? Were they not even as I born in a womb, and these were born, and we were born in the same belly? But the disabled missed not whatever need they had at some time or other. I wasted not the eye of the widow, and even if I ate my morsel alone, and I shared of it not with an orphan, for from my youth I nourished them as a father, and from the womb of my mother I guided. And even if I overlooked the naked perishing and clothed him not, and the disabled, unless they blessed me, and of the shearing wool of my lambs, their shoulders were not heated. If I lifted up a hand against an orphan, relying that much help remained to me, then may my shoulders separate from the collarbone, may my arm be broken from the elbow, for the fear of the Lord constrained me, from his concern I shall not endure. If I ordered up gold for my strength, and if I even relied upon very costly stones, And even if great gladness in riches was coming to me, and if also I put my hands upon innumerable things, or we do not see the shining sun subsiding, and the moon wanting, for there is no power to them, and if my heart was deceived in private, and if I was fond of placing my hand upon my mouth, then let this be imputed so as to me the greatest lawlessness, for I lied before the Lord of the highest. And even if I became gratified at the calamitous downfall of my enemies, and said in my heart, Well done, then let my ear hear my curse, and may I then be a common topic by my people for the inflicting evil. And if even often my female attendants said, Whoever might give to us his flesh to satisfy, exceedingly of my being gracious. For the stranger lodged not outside, and my door was not open to all that came. And if even of sins unintentionally I hid my sin, for I was not diverted from a great multitude to not openly declare before them. And if even I allowed a disabled man to go forth from my door with an empty bosom, or that there might be given one to hear me, but unless I was in awe of the hand of the Lord, and as to a writ which I had against anyone, putting it on a crown upon even my shoulders, I read it, and unless tearing it, I gave it back, having received nothing from a debtor. If perhaps the earth moaned against me, and even if her furrows wept with one accord, even if of its strength I ate alone without value, and even if in taking anything of the life of the master of the land I fretted him, instead of wheat, then may there come forth to me needles, and instead of barley a bush. And Job ceased his words. And they were quiet, and his 3 friends no longer contradicted Job, for Job was righteous before them. Elihu was provoked to anger, the son of Bereshal, the Buzite, of the kin of Ram, of the place of Alsis, and he was provoked to anger against Job exceedingly, because he sentenced himself as righteous before the Lord. But even against the 3 friends he was provoked to anger exceedingly, for they were not able to answer contrary to Job, and they established him to be an impious man. Elihu waited to give an answer to Job, for they were older than he in days. Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouths of the 3 men, and his anger was enraged. Undertaking, Elihu the son of Berachal the Buzite said, For as much as I am younger in time, and you are older, therefore I was still, fearing to announce to you the higher knowledge of myself. I said, It is not time for speaking, but in many years men have not known wisdom. There is a spirit in mortals, and the breath of the Almighty is the one teaching. The long-lived are not wise as such, and neither do the aged know equity. Therefore I said, Hear me, and I will announce to you what I know. Give ear to my sayings, for I will speak in your hearing, as far as the which time you should examine the words, and until you shall perceive. And behold, there was no one reproving Job, and answering his words from you, that you should not say, We found wisdom being added by the Lord. You commissioned man to spiel much words, and they were terrified. They answered not any longer. Words were old coming from them. I waited, for I did not speak, for they stood, and they answered not. Undertaking, Elihu said, Again I shall speak, for I am full of words, for the wind of the belly destroys me, and my belly is as if a leather bag of sweet new wine bubbling, being tied up, and as if the bellows of a brazier tearing forth. I will speak that I shall rest myself in opening my lips, for in no way shall I be shamed by man, and in fact nor shall I in any way feel shame from a mortal, for I know not to admire a person, but if not, even moths shall devour me. But in fact, hear, O Job, my words, and give ear to my speech. For behold, I opened my mouth, and my tongue spoke. My heart is pure in words, and the understanding of my lips shall purpose pure. The divine Spirit made me, and the breath of the Almighty is what is teaching me. If you should be able, give to me an answer for these things. Wait and stand against me, and I against you. For out of clay you were molded, as also I, and we were molded from out of the same clay. You shall not whirl about in the fear of me, nor shall my hand be heavy upon you, except you said in my ears, I have heard the voice of your words, for you say, I am pure, not having sinned, for I am blameless, for I did not act lawlessly. But he found a complaint against me, and he has esteemed me as if an opponent. He put my foot in stocks of wood, and guarded all my ways. For how say you, I am righteous, and he has not heeded me? For the one above mortals is eternal. But you say, Why of my righteousness has he not heeded every word? For when the Lord speaks once or a second time, setting a dream or in a nightly meditation, or as whenever an awful fear falls upon men in slumberings upon a bed, then he uncovers the mind of men in sleights of fear, with such he frightens them. To turn a man from iniquity, he rescues his body from a calamitous downfall, and he spares his soul from death. He spares him so as to not fall in war, And again he reproved him by infirmity upon his bed. He paralyzed a multitude of his bones, and in no way shall he be able to favorably receive any eatable grain, even though his soul desires food, until whenever his flesh should fester, and his bones should be exposed bare. His soul approaches unto death, and his life unto Hades. If there might be 1,000 messengers causing death, one of them in no way shall pierce him, if he should purpose in his heart to turn toward the Lord, and announce to man his own complaint, and should show his lawlessness. He shall hold him to not fall into death. He shall renew his body as new plasters upon a wall, and he will fill up his bones with marrow. He will make tender his flesh as an infant, and he shall restore him to manhood among men. One vowing to the Lord, it will be acceptable to him, and he shall enter with a clean face, and an utterance of praise, and he will recompense righteousness to men. Even then shall a man blame himself, saying, What things have I completed? He chastised me not with what I sinned. Deliver my soul to not come unto corruption, that my life should see light. Behold, all these things are strong ones, works 3 ways with a man. He rescued my soul from death, that my life and light should praise him. Give ear, O Job, and hear me. Be silent, for I myself shall speak. If there are words in you, then answer me, and speak, for I want justice to be done for you. If not, you hear me, and be silent, and I will teach you wisdom. And undertaking Elihu said, Hear me, O wise men, O ones having knowledge. Give ear to the good, for the ear tries words, and the throat tastes food. Judgment we should take up for ourselves, and we should know between ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am righteous, and the Lord has dismissed my judgment. He lied in my judgment. My spear is violent without injustice. What man is as Job, drinking sneering as if water, not sinning nor being impious, nor wholly participating with ones committing lawless deeds, to go with the impious? For you should not say that there will not be an overseeing of a man, and there is an overseeing of him by the Lord. Therefore, O discerning of heart, hear me, and may it not be to me before the Lord to be impious, and before the Almighty to disturb. But he gives back to man as each of them does, and by a path man will find him. Do you imagine the Lord doing something out of place, or that the Almighty will disturb a judgment, the one who makes the earth? And who is the one acting under heaven, and all the things being in it? For if he might want to constrain and to hold down the Spirit by himself, all flesh would come to an end with one accord. Every mortal shall go forth into the earth from where even he was shaped. But if he should not admonish, then hear these things, and give ear to the sound of words. Behold then the one detesting lawless deeds, and the one destroying the wicked, being eternally righteous. Impious is the one saying to a king, You act unlawfully, and saying, O impious one, to the ruler, who was not feeling of respect for the person of honor, nor how to appoint honor to the stout men, and to admire their persons. But it shall result in vanity to them, to cry out and to beseech a man, for they dealt unlawfully, turning aside the disabled. He is an observer of the works of men, and nothing of how they act has escaped him. Nor is there a place to hide for the ones doing lawless deeds. For he will not put upon a man any longer. For the Lord inspects all. He is the one perceiving untraceable things, honorable things also, and the extraordinary things which there is no number. The one knowing their works, he shall turn night upon them, and they shall be humbled. He extinguishes the impious, for they are visible before him. For they turned aside from the law of God. They did not recognize his ordinances, so as to bring unto him the cry of the needy. He will listen to the cry of the poor. He will furnish rest. Who will condemn? He will hide his face, and who shall see him? Even against a nation and against a man together, giving rain to a man who is a hypocrite, because of the discontent of people. That to the mighty one, saying, I have received blessings, I will not take anything for security. I will see apart from myself, and you showed to me, if I practiced iniquity, then in no way shall I proceed. Will he pay it on you, and that you should have thrust it away? For you shall choose, and not I, and what you know speak. Therefore the discerning in heart shall say these things, and a wise man hears my word. But Job spoke not with understanding, and his words are not with higher knowledge. But in fact learn, Job, no longer give an answer as the fools, though we should not add upon our sins. For lawlessness may be imputed against us in speaking many words before the Lord. And undertaking Elihu said, What is this you esteem iniquity? You who are you that you said, I am righteous before the Lord? For you shall say, How should I have committed sinning? I shall give to you an answer, and to your 3 friends. Look up into the heavens, and behold, study the clouds, and how high they are from you. If you sinned, what will you do? Even if in many things you acted lawlessly, what are you able to do? Since then you are righteous, what shall you give to him, or what shall he take from out of your hand? To a man likened to you of your impiety, and to a son of man of your righteousness. The ones being extorted by a multitude shall cry out. They shall yell because of the arm of many. And one said not, Where is the God who made me, the one delegating the nightly watches, the one separating me from the four-footed beasts of the earth, and from the birds of heaven? There they shall cry out, and in no way shall one listen. Even because of the insolence of wicked men, for things out of place the Lord does not want to behold, for he is the Almighty. He is an observer of the ones completing lawless deeds, and he will deliver me. You will plead before him if you are able to praise him as he is, now that he is not numbering his anger, and he knows not exceeding transgressions. Even Job, acting in folly, opens his mouth in ignorance, and he weighs down words. And proceeding still, Elihu says, Wait for me a little more, that I shall teach you, for there is still speech in me. Having taken up my higher knowledge from afar unto works of mine, I will speak righteous things in truth, and you shall not unjustly perceive unjust words. But know that the Lord in no way shall undo the guileless man, the mighty in strength of heart. The impious in no way will he restore to life, and he shall impute equity for the poor. He will not remove his eyes from the righteous, and they shall be with kings on a throne. He shall seat them into victory, and they shall be exalted. The ones being shackled in manacles shall be held together by rough cords of poverty. He shall announce to them their works and their transgressions, for they are prevalent. But he will listen to the righteous, and he spoke that they shall turn from unrighteousness. If they shall hear and serve, they shall complete their days among good things, and their years among beautiful things. But the impious are not preserved, by their not willing to behold the Lord, and because being admonished they were unhearing. Hypocrites in heart shall order rage, and they shall not yell, for he bound them. Therefore may their soul die in youth, and their life being pierced by messengers, because they afflicted the weak and disabled. He will expound judgment for the Gentile, from when he beguiled from out of the mouth of the enemy an abyss for throwing down underneath it, that your table went down full of fatness. But judgment shall not fail from the righteous, and rage will be upon the impious because of the impiety of bribes, which they received for iniquities. Let not the mind willingly turn you aside of the supplication of the ones being disabled in necessity, and all the ones fortifying strength. You shall not drag away by night, so that others should ascend instead of them. But guard lest you act out of place. For of these things you took up because of poorness. Behold, the strong one shall conquer, but his strength, for who is as he, the mighty one? Who is the one examining his works? Or who is the one having said he acted unjustly? Remember that his works are great, which men command. Every man beholds in himself how many mortals are being pierced. Behold, the strong one is great, and we shall not know him, and the number of his years are unlimited. The drops of rain shall be counted by him, and shall they be poured for rain in the cloud. Things grown old shall flow, and clouds shadow over untold mortals. Should one have perceived the spreading of the clouds as equal of his tent? Behold, he stretches out light upon it, and he covers the root of the sea. For in them he shall judge peoples. He shall give nourishment to the one being strong. With the hands he covers light, and he gave charge concerning it with the encountering clouds. He will announce his friend concerning him, for possession and for injustice. I cry out to the Lord. With my voice I plead for mercy to the Lord. I pour out my complaint before him. I tell my trouble before him, and when my spirit faints within me, you know my way. In the path where I walk they have hidden a trap for me. Look to the right and see, for there is none who takes notice of me. No refuge remains to me. No one cares for my soul. I cry to you, O Lord. I say you are my refuge, and my portion in the land of the living. Attend to my cry, for I am brought very low. Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are too strong for me. Bring me out of prison, that I may give thanks to your name. The righteous will surround me, for you will deal bountifully with me. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear to my pleas for mercy. In your faithfulness answer me, in your righteousness. Enter not into judgment with your servant, for no one living is righteous before you. For the enemy has pursued my soul. He has crushed my life to the ground. He has made me sit in darkness like those long dead. Therefore my spirit faints within me. My heart within me is appalled. I remember the days of old, and I meditate on all that you have done. I ponder the work of your hands. I stretch out my hands to you. My soul thirsts for you like a parched land. Answer me quickly, O Lord. My spirit fails. Hide not your face from me, lest I be like those who go down to the pit. And let me hear in the morning of your steadfast love. For in you I trust. Make me known the way I should go, for to you I lift up my soul. Deliver me from my enemies, O Lord. I have fled to you for refuge. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. Let your spirit lead me on level ground. For your name's sake, O Lord, preserve my life. In your righteousness, bring my soul out of trouble. And in your steadfast love, you will cut off my enemies. You will destroy all the adversaries of my soul, for I am your servant.
If you should sit to have supper at the table of a monarch, intelligibly comprehend the things being placed near you. Give attention to your hand, beholding that it is a must for you to make preparations for such things. But if you are insatiable, do not desire his food, for these have a false life. Do not reach forth being needy to the rich, but in your insight be at a distance. If you set your eye upon him, he shall not at all appear, for they are carefully prepared for him, wings as of an eagle, and he returns to the house being set for him. Do not dine with a bewitching man, nor desire his foods, for in which manner, as if any man swallowed down a hair, thus he eats and drinks, nor shall you bring him to yourself, nor you should eat your morsel with him, for he will vomit it and lay waste your good words. Do not speak into the ears of a fool, lest at any time he sneer at discerning your words. You should not transpose the everlasting boundaries, and to the possession of orphans you should not enter to take. The one ransoming is the Lord. He is strong, and he arbitrates their case with you. Give your heart for instruction, and prepare your ears for words of good sense. You should not be at a distance to correct the simple, for if you strike him with a rod, in no way should he die. For as much as you struck him with a rod, then you rescued his soul from death. O son, if you should make your heart wise, you should gladden also my heart, and the words of your lips shall spend time with my lips, if they should be straight. Let not your heart be jealous of sinners, but be in the fear of the Lord the whole day. For if you should give heed to these things, there will be a progeny for you, and your hope will not leave. Hear, O son, and be wise. Straighten out the reflections of your heart. Do not be a wine-bibber, nor stretch out couplings, nor purchasings of meats. For every intoxicated one and whoremonger shall be poor, and every sleepy one shall put on torn and ragged garments. Hear, O son, the father engendering you. Do not disdain that your mother has grown old. Acquire truth, and you should not thrust away wisdom and instruction and understanding. A just father nourishes well, and his soul is gladdened by a wise son. Let your father and mother be glad over you. Let the one who gave birth to you rejoice. Give to me, O son, your heart, and let your eyes give heed to my ways. For a strange house is a cask having been drilled, and a strange well is narrow. For this one suddenly shall perish, and every lawbreaker shall be consumed. To whom is there woe? To whom a tumult? To whom litigations? To whom rancor and intrigue? To whom breaks without cause? To whom dark-colored eyes? Is it not the one lingering in wines? Is it not the one prowling where parties happen? Do not be intoxicated by wine, or consort with just men, consort in the promenades. For if in the bowls and the cups you should give your eyes, afterwards you shall walk more naked than a pestle. But at last it will be as if being attacked by a serpent, he stretches out, and if by a horned serpent the poison diffuses throughout him. Now your eyes behold the strange woman, your mouth then speaks perverse things. You shall recline as if in the heart of the sea, and as a navigator in a great swell. And you shall say, They beat me, and I did not have pain. They mocked me, but I did not know. When will it be dawn that coming I shall seek after one who shall go together with me to drink? Ephesians 3:8-10. Unto me, who am less than the least of all the saints, is this grace given, that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Christ, and to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world hath been hid in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ, to the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of God. By any measure, Paul devoted his life to spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, and succeeded in ways that are almost unimaginable. In fact, the impact of his life and ministry went far beyond what human gifts or human
talents could explain. Paul had great power from God on his work, and that was the secret of his undeniable success. The people in Thessalonica, who objected to his preaching, inadvertently expressed the dramatic impact Paul was having. When they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the cities, crying, These that have turned the world upside down are come hither also. Yet despite all of his accomplishments, the churches founded and the people converted, Paul was not impressed with himself. He knew the real man he described as the least of all saints, and he was not about to take credit for what he knew God had accomplished through him. For who maketh thee plished through him? For who maketh thee to differ from another? What hast thou that thou didst not receive? Now if thou didst receive it, why dost thou glory as if thou hadst not received it? If we properly understand how utterly independent and how dependent on God we really are, this will be no room in our hearts for pride to take root. We must keep our focus on Him and redirect any praise or glory we receive for ourselves to Him. For the more God uses us, the more reason we have to humbly acknowledge that the results belong to Him. Since all we do for God requires His power, there's never anything of which we can rightly boast.